You already know what it is. Chauncey, aka Great Man of God Media. All right. The Black Separatists. Right back at you once again with another Great Man of God Media TV conversation. All right. Sunday night, man. I just want to talk about Donald Trump, man. Never ceases to amaze me. Just the continuance over racist rhetoric, the white supremacist culture that this man embodies, it's just, I just want to talk about this, man, because this is we are going into an apartheid regime. So I'm gonna break this down on this live stream. So anyway, before I start on my commentary, family, once again, my name is Chauncey, aka the Black Separatist. On this channel, I talk about counter racism. I also talk about issues that affect Black people collectively as a group. And I offer my suggestions on how to replace this broken system of injustice, this broken system of racism, which is white supremacy, with a system of justice. So if you subscribe to that ideology, please subscribe to this channel. If you don't, you're completely wasting your time. Click off. You are trolling, hate watching. Just exit the video. It's just that simple. All right. So Donald Trump and his apartheid regime, it just continues. So Donald Trump just enlisted Jeff Sessions to be the U.S. Attorney General. And this man has a history of being a racist, having, just having all kinds of deep-rooted history with Black people in terms of discrimination, things of that nature. And I'm going to play a couple clips to illustrate my points. All right. And I'm going to just break down the cabinet, the potential cabinet, or the short list of Donald Trump's cabinet members. But the shoe-in is Jeff, aka the white supremacist Sessions, that he is going to be the U.S. Attorney General. All right. So let me play a clip real quick of, and I just retweeted this on my Twitter. I'll put it on my Twitter timeline so you guys can see. I just retweeted this this video, but I'm gonna play it for you guys anyway. So here we go.
Mr. Sessions is a throwback to a shameful era, which I know both Black and white Americans thought was in our past. It's inconceivable to me that a person of this attitude is qualified to be a U.S. attorney, let alone a United States federal judge.
Jefferson Beauregard Sessions III. He was brought face to face with things he personally had said. For example, that the NAACP and the Civil Liberties Union are un-American organizations.
These comments that you could say about commie organizations or something, I may have said something like that in a general way that probably was wrong.
Also brought face to face with a Justice Department civil rights attorney who knows him well and who was asked, is Sessions a racist?
I don't really know whether he is or he isn't. I probably ought to know, but I don't. I really can't say.
But the would-be judge's biggest problem came in a case he prosecuted and lost, a vote fraud case involving Black civil rights leaders in Perry County, Alabama. Defendants in the Perry County case were Albert and Evelyn Turner, political and civil rights leaders for more than 20 years. Albert was an aide to Martin Luther King. Their scrapbook has all the marches.
This is Bloody Sunday. Albert could see that sim right there.
Albert Turner guided the mules at Dr. King's funeral. The federal government charged the Turners with doctoring absentee ballots, vote fraud, and mail fraud.
My own opinion is that the case is political. I actually don't think Jeff Sessions came in with an ounce of evidence.
Blacks charge harassment by U.S. Attorney Jeff Sessions, noting there was no investigation of white vote fraud. The Justice Department says it had no complaints about white vote fraud. Jack Drake, a Tuscaloosa civil rights attorney, says the feds might have found plenty of white vote fraud had they looked for it.
I've seen letters written by the concerned citizens of Sumter County, for example, saying, we know you don't live here anymore, but we want you to vote here.
Drake says race is the only issue in black belt elections, that the federal government got involved in a local struggle over the courthouse.
I think the motivation came from the whites who live there, who are really desperate when they start to think about losing control of the county courthouse.
The original complaint came 2 years earlier from the local district attorney.
I gave them my preliminary investigative report and advised them of the situation here and asked for their assistance.
Roy Johnson showed us the original impounded ballots. He said the Turners illegally changed some of the absentee ballots they had collected.
Ballots are being changed from the way the voters had cast them.
Johnson turned his evidence over to Jeff Sessions and asked the U.S. Attorney to monitor the 1984 primary election.
And I told them basically what I just outlined, that we had, in essence, sheer unadulterated fraud in the absentee balloting process here in Perry County.
All right, so that's the short clip of the overt racism rhetoric that Jeff Sessions, the cabinet, the actual U.S. Attorney General that Donald Trump elected. This goes back way back in the 80s, 70s. And, you know, again, Donald Trump is leading a South African apartheid regime. The overt racism is becoming normalized by Donald Trump, by President-elect Donald Trump. It is becoming normalized now. It is becoming overt now. All right. It's becoming to a point where black people are going to think that this behavior is normal. It's normal to think that way. It's normal to just buck dance and coon for the white man. It's cool to say, yeah, we live in a post-racial era. Yeah, man, it's normal. It's normal because obviously, again, I've always talked about that. We suffer from so much mental illnesses that black people collectively as a group, we don't know which way is up. You know, whether you want to call it post-traumatic slavery syndrome, cognitive dissonance, Stockholm syndrome, whatever you want to call it, it's an issue, you know, that has to be resolved. But the fact that we got President-elect Donald Trump specifically putting in white supremacists in his cabinet and coons in his cabinets, this is going to be normal behavior for black people to see. Normal behavior, right? So, you know, this is something that like I said, this is something Donald Trump continues to display. And now it's just become extremely normal. I mean, to the point where I'm pretty sure some of you guys heard, you know, last week, Vice President-elect Mike Pence attended the stage play Hamilton, and the cast members did some kind of impromptu, you know, performance with Mike Pence in the audience. Donald Trump felt some type of way about that. And he has since then been demanding an apology for what happened. And I'm gonna play the clip real quick because I have not seen the clip myself. I've only read about the story and the headlines. But I'm gonna play the clip real quick and share my thoughts about what exactly happened. So here's the clip real quick.
Data threats affect the whole world.
All right, we got a commercial.
2016 Vormetric Data Threat Report. Trends in
wait till the commercial passes.
And get the global perspective.
As you know, we are live, so
your company's data security strategy. Download it now.
Get past this commercial. All right, here we go.
You know, we have a guest in the audience this evening. And Vice President-elect Pence, I see you walking out, but I hope you will hear us just a few more moments. There's nothing to move with, ladies and gentlemen. There's nothing to move with. We're all here sharing a story of love. We have a message for you, sir. We hope that you will hear us out. And I encourage everybody to pull out your phones and tweet and post, because this message needs to be spread far and wide, okay? Vice President-elect Pence, we welcome you and we truly thank you for joining us here at Hamilton American Music. We really do. We, sir, We are the diverse America who are alarmed and anxious that your new administration will not protect us, our planet, our children, our parents, or defend us and uphold our inalienable rights. But we truly hope that this show has inspired you to uphold our American values and to work on behalf of all of us. All of us. This wonderful American story told by a diverse group of men, women of different colors, creeds, and orientations.
Okay. Well, again, Donald Trump felt some type of way about that. It was cute. It was cute. But again, when you have a dictator like Donald Trump, who's constantly on social media talking about things he wants to have done and whatever the case may be, I mean, he will just spew out random thoughts on social media like he's still campaigning. And he continues to do that. So he saw this clip, felt some type of way, was like, I demand an apology. You shouldn't talk to my vice president-elect Mike Pence like that. I demand an apology. That was a harmless nod. That was a harmless nod to Mike Pence saying, listen, we have a diverse cast, right? And we want to ensure, we want your insurance that the presidency has a diverse mentality for our generation. That was the gist of what he was saying. But again, you got a known white supremacist like Donald Trump saying he felt some type of way. I want you to apologize because you shouldn't speak to my vice president-elect, a white man, like that, boy. You shouldn't talk to him like that. So that's exactly how Donald Trump, you know, is speaking to that cast member from Hamilton. Exactly like that, you know. And this continues. Again, his cabinet members, he still has, I believe he still has Rudy Giuliani on the short list to become a cabinet member, as well as Sarah Palin, right? And as well as the known coon Sheriff David Clark, right? So you have you have these potential candidate members to be in the cabinet, known white supremacists, known coons. And again, like I said, this is going to be normal behavior, normalized. Normal behavior, right? So, you know, this is something like I've already said before. What we need to focus on, Black people collectively as a group, and I can only offer my suggestions. That's all I can do. I can offer my suggestions. We, in my opinion, have to govern ourselves accordingly. That's all we can do. Govern ourselves accordingly. You do what's best for you to change your condition. Because obviously, overt racism coming from Donald Trump is something that he wants to be normalized. His regime is going to be South African apartheid. It's going to be a new way of Jim Crow. That's what it comes down to. That's exactly what it comes down to, right? And I'm gonna read. He has some tweets about that Hamilton cast. It was pretty funny how he felt some type of way about the Hamilton cast, and that was just hilarious. I got to pull that up real quick. Let's see if I can find it. Also, while I'm finding that, there was actually last week, it was some crazed Trump supporter in Miami who demanded some kind of refund or whatever the case may be, because he felt like his coffee was taking too long. And he voiced his opinion by saying, yeah, I voted for Trump. You know, I shouldn't get my coffee this slow or something to that effect. This is the mindset of the people who voted for Donald Trump. Again, you had a quote unquote white lash of these voters who came out and supported Donald Trump because of his white supremacist rhetoric. Anytime you want to talk about mistreating, subjugating, dominating a group of people based off color, all right? And he's not just talking about blacks. He's talking about Muslims, Mexicans. He's talking about mistreating these particular groups. Anytime you talk about that, that's going to basically convert or actually expose the inner white supremacists in these white folks. So the people who actually, you know, weren't so boisterous or just wanted to be down low or low key regarding their political views, he spoke to that. He tapped into what you would call their white supremacist spirit. He tapped into that spirit and brought it out of them. And that's why there was such a surge in white women, particularly voting for Donald Trump. Right. So, you know, again, you're going to continue to see this, family. And this is becoming normal behavior. This is something that is, and again, I just feel like black people, especially people who don't really understand what's going on, they feel like in order for them to be accepted, they have to buck, dance, and coon for the white man so they can be accepted. Right. And that's something that is going to be normalized for those who actually don't understand what's going on, don't understand what racism, white supremacy is, what it is and how it works. This is going to become normal behavior under the South African apartheid regime from Donald Trump. Right. That's exactly what it comes down to. Exactly what it comes down to. So, again, he enlisted a known white supremacist, Jeff Sessions, who specifically said the NAACP is unconstitutional. He jokes about the KKK has a bunch of racial rhetoric for black people, and he is going to be enlisted as the U.S. Attorney General. All right. So, family, just get used to this overt white supremacist behavior coming from Donald Trump. Get used to this. This is nothing new. Just get used to it. And again, govern yourself accordingly. All right. So anyway, family, I just wanted to keep this video real quick. Just my thoughts about Jeff Sessions. And I'm also going to share my thoughts as far as his other cabinet members. But again, his regime is going to be a apartheid South African regime. He's looking for overt racism. Just that simple. Overt racism from his regime. And I wouldn't be surprised that he gets elected for a second term to continue the onslaught of overt white supremacy for Donald Trump. You go from the first black president. Now, regardless of how you feel, because of course, you know, he obviously has not done a damn thing for black people, Barack Obama, right? But we go from historically the first black president in the United States to now, you can basically say a slaveholder, right? Because if this was apartheid slavery, or excuse me, antebellum slavery, he would be the Jeff Adams, the George Washingtons, all these slaveholder presidents because of his mentality of being an overt white supremacist, and which is Donald Trump. You go from the first black president to a white supremacist, Donald Trump, in office, who is going to enlist a South African apartheid regime for his cabinet. All right. So again, just get used to that. Just get used to that and understand that you have to govern yourself accordingly. That's what you have to do. Govern yourself accordingly. Okay, yeah, I found the tweets that Donald Trump was talking about for the Hamilton cast. He says The cast and producers of Hamilton, which I hear is highly overrated, should immediately apologize to Mike Pence for their terrible behavior. The theater must always be safe and in a special place. The cast of Hamilton was very rude last night to a very good man, Mike Pence. Apologize. Our wonderful future VP, Mike Pence, was harassed last night at the theater by the cast of Hamilton. Cameras blazing. This should not happen. So, again, expect this overt white supremacist rhetoric coming from Donald Trump. You know, again, some of the stuff is just really funny, but a guy that's 70 years old that's still procreating children. He has a 9-year-old son. I mean, he was procreating at the age of 60. A 9-year-old son, 70 years old right now, still has time to go out and tweet about whatever he feels like tweeting about. Any given moment, he'll go out and tweet something. And this guy is the president-elect for the next 4 years, voted by white supremacists. So get used to that. Get used to that and get used to his South African apartheid regime for cabinet. Get used to that, because that's what it comes down to. So that's my thoughts of that, family. I'm gonna have another video. I'm gonna do a reaction video. Be on the lookout for that. I'm not gonna do a live stream of that because I want to have that little box where you can see my face as I'm watching the video. So be on the lookout for this reaction video, because this one, this live reaction video is going to be crazy. I just saw the title of the video, right? But I want to save it for a separate video and give you guys my real-time reaction. So be on the lookout for that. I'm gonna have it uploaded also tonight. All right, family. So that was my quick thoughts about Donald Trump and his U.S. Attorney General that he elected, Jeff the White Supremacist Sessions. All right. It's just, again, just get used to this overt white supremacist rhetoric from Donald Trump and this apartheid regime. Just get used to that. That's all I can say. All right, family, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Once again, this is Chauncey, aka the Black Separatist, signing out. Peace.